Imagine you're walking near a forest. As you walk, you hear in the distance the sound of a desperate scream, followed by the clash of a fight. The first thing that will come to your mind is the instinct to run away, to get away from danger. It's self-preservation. But not only that, it is also something deeper, the thought that the other person doesn't matter that much. If you wait a little longer, something else will come to your mind. Curiosity. But not only that, also the desire to protect a possible victim you've probably never seen in your life. If it is a woman or a child, that feeling becomes even stronger. Why? You may ask yourself, why do these thoughts come to your mind? Why would you blame yourself for not protecting someone when you could? According to C.S. Lewis, it is because within all of us there exists a moral law, a distinction between right and wrong, the compass that guides our actions. For Christians, this is God's mark in all His creations. It is the presence of demonic temptations and the influence of the Holy Spirit. From this reasoning, we can believe that God is not only in the heart of Westerners, but also in the East. And today, when we have so much political propaganda being called movies here in the West, so much satanic content being completely normalized and accepted, sometimes the East shows that divine spark more often than we do. And the new Demon Slayer movie showed me this in an incredible way. It's no wonder many Eastern works are surpassing traditional Western blockbusters. Demon Slayer is certainly a good example. We have 3 main battles, and in each of them I saw meaning. In the first, against the upper rank 2, I noticed the falsehood, moral distortion, and sadism of the demons. In the second battle, I saw rage, the lack of remorse, the relentless and scrupulous pursuit of recognition by Zenitsu's former companion. It shows that a sacrifice made in the name of something immoral isn't worth it. That, in the end, judgment comes, and no matter what you do, you end up with nothing, without power and without the dignity you threw away to achieve it. A complete failure. And then, the third battle. Gyu and Tanjiro face Akaza, the very same person who killed one of the best characters in the movie that filled theaters worldwide in 2021. At first, Gyu does well against Akaza, they exchange blows evenly, and Tanjiro, despite impressing both with his growth, cannot influence the fight that much. Akaza regenerates too quickly and attacks even faster. He has no openings, for his power lies in predicting exactly where his enemy will strike simply by sensing their killing intent or fighting spirit. This is very interesting, because who fights without feeling anger? Who moves without being driven by some emotion? So how do you defeat someone who knows exactly where you will attack? First, you must make him not know where you will strike. And how do you do that? By feeling nothing. At the moment, when I was watching the movie, I couldn't help but remember the 7 deadly scenes. That anime that started with amazing animation and, well, became what it did by the 3rd season. Well, don't think I like the series. In fact, I find it pretty shameless that the villains are the 10 commandments, while the heroes are the 7 deadly scenes. Like, it doesn't make sense. The scene I recalled was the fight between Escanor, the Sin of Pride, and Estarossa, the Commandment of Love. Estarossa had the ability to render any opponent who hated him incapable of fighting. But Escanor felt no hatred. He felt pity, because he didn't see him as a threat. He considered himself superior because of his immense pride. And Demon Slayer, however, Tanjiro reached the same practical result, but in different and much better way. Like, he remembers his father defeating a bear that invaded the land around their home. Like a rattlesnake warning its enemies not to approach, his father placed bells around the property, which by the way recalled me how the rattlesnake is a symbol of libertarianism, representing the principle of non-aggression, with readiness for self-defense. Well, let's continue. The bear was hungry, and his father felt empathy for that. He understood what drove it to attack, but he would not let it pass. He killed the bear the moment it crossed the boundary, quickly, painlessly. Without pleasure, without sadism, without judgment. He simply executed the consequence, exactly like an angel. Or, as I explained in my last video, more precisely like a being of light. While Escanor replaced hatred with arrogance and contempt, Tanjiro filled it with love and empathy. Someone who simply fulfilled his task, who did not want to hurt, but found himself forced to act so that evil would not continue. Like someone who had overcome the limitations of human flesh. who felt nothing toward the sinner except empathy and sorrow at seeing him suffer. That's why he was able to get close to Akaza and deliver the final blow. To defeat the enemy, he first had to defeat the hatred within himself. After that, we see Akaza backstory, when he was Hakuji, how he loved his father and used the love to justify his actions. How he used the cause of saving someone precious to harm what was precious to others. How his distorted ethics were irredeemable, and how he felt neither shame or regret. He embodied what it means to be a demon. After hurting so many others, he finally met someone who surpassed him. He learned to respect. He found a sensei, a teacher who not only taught him how to fight, but also how to love again. In the end, he came to love his master with philia, which is the Greek term for love in a friendship, and also his daughter, both in philia and eros. But there was a problem. His master dojo had an old rivalry with another dojo. They poisoned the well, and the two most important things in Hakuji's life were gone. At the moment the demon returned, he killed more than 60 people with his bare hands and became a Noni, which is a Japanese demon. He finally became a Akaza. But even then, even after everything he did for centuries as a demon, someone appeared who did not hate him. Someone like his former sensei, someone who cared love. Many people see Tanjiro being too kind as a flaw. I don't think so. Characters like him are examples we need to know and try to follow. After all, Akaza did not hate the weak. He hated himself for not being strong enough to protect those he loved, and even after all his corruption, he repented and asked for forgiveness. Here, he showed himself to be a human, a prodigal son returning home.